That should do for now. That should do for now. Tell me we're live. Chat, can you see me? Hello. It says I'm live. Am I live? Hello, chat. Hello. It says live. Oh, hi. What's up? We're back. We're alive. Kind of. Not really. Internet went to crap. Honestly, I'm not even going to bother with it. We're playing from the phone. It is what it is. Osiris League is upon us. We're going to do everything within our power to cast this match. Listen, I don't want to talk about it. The internet is dog doo-doo. The simulator is not working. I'm not going to deal with that right now. Unfortunately, we'll have to do with what we got. So welcome to this cast. Let me move myself to the other side so you guys can see me a little bit better. That can go that way. We are on HOF against the boys of SNO. They beat the what's their name? Smash Squad last week, and this time around we're looking for a potential victory against the folks of HOF. This is one of the most important matches of the day in terms of the bettors. Most of you folks definitely went betting on this match, so we are here ready to go. We missed a little bit at the beginning. I'm gonna have to cast through the phone, so I apologize if you guys see me looking down quite a bit. Unfortunately, the emulator just simply wouldn't work. We can try to get it to work still, just in case. Maybe we can swap to the regular view whenever this stabilizes, but the internet has been killing me today, chat. 8K coins on SNO. I got my 2K coins as well. 30 versus 30 going on. It's the 52nd minute. The folks of red team in the shape of SNO are a little bit in the lead right now. But for now, we are on our way. We're on our way. Obelisks are about to be taken by red team, picked up theirs. Blue team is one obelisk away. Teleports happening at the bottom and blue side, while top side red team seem to have teleport already. All the buildings unlocked. Let's go take a peek at how it works out. On the top side, both teams pick up their own buildings. Bottom side, still very little presence on the buildings. What is this? SNO not picking up their building even though they have tons of people around. They finally take the building. What about HOF? Nobody near the sky altar. Potential mistake by the folks of HOF, and SNO could take advantage of this. They can start pushing forward. They have plenty of open field presence next to their own altar that they can afford to move towards the altar that's supposed to be blue. Now the folks in blue are a little bit in the lead, about 60 points per minute and roughly 170 points, but SNO seem to eventually take the lead as they right now have one altar above the folks of HOF, and they own the altar for a good 40 seconds more than the team of HOF. So far, so good. The buildings are split about evenly. HOF picking up the final sky altar. This is actually a small misplay that can cost them a fortune. Now they have to wait a full 3 minutes for this to lock in, for them to take first occupation. There's very little presence in here right now by them. So if SNO start making a move very quickly, they could potentially snatch first occupation on a sky altar, or at least delay that first occupation that the folks of HOF will have. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very delayed arc. I apologize again for the BS. Trust me when I tell you, I'm more frustrated than any of you combined, because honestly, internet issues are a real killer, but we are not going to let that bring us down. We're still going to try to cast the best possible Arc of Osiris match for you, ladies and gentlemen. I probably shouldn't be doing that. I'll load in the jumper with a potential HOF with the Divine Aid picking up 5 teleports. Let's see if they decide to use them instantly. They still have 2 teleports they haven't used beyond Divine Aid, which is really scary. It means that they've used up their alliance skill, but have not teleported. 7 teleports available on the blue side. Red team locking in all of their teleports. Open field presence marching towards the sky altar and a rally as well. Big bad news for the folks in HOF as they're about to get swarmed plus rallied by what looks like an Edward Archer march. man, this could start really, really, really badly for the folks of HOF, as right now, the rally's about to hit. There's very little defense inside this HOF altar. It is holding up pretty well against this Archer's March, but then again, there is a swarm nearby by the folks of SNO. SNO right now, all they want is they want to stop that first occupation from HOF, and they might be able to get it done. Look at the altar health compared to the swarm and the rally. Things are looking very bad right now for HOF. To make matters worse, their desert altar is also being contested. We have a little bit of lagging issues, but oh, desert altar was first occupied, but it looks like the folks of SNO are about to take it from the folks of HOF, taking a lead, points per minute lead for the first time today, 70 points per minute in favor of SNO. And to make matters worse, they're looking to grow the pain as they're trying to take away the Shrine of Life away from HOF. Both Shrines of Wars are blinking right now. This match started nuts, chat. This match is going to be the one of the day. All the bettors, most of the bettors have their coins on this. Most of the folks are looking at a victory for HOF, but those of us who put our money on SNO might be in for a great return on investment. That is right. So far, as I mentioned, we bet on the underdogs. We're looking for value bets, and these value bets are everything. Look at that right there. 4 altars are red. Very, very bad news for the folks in HOF. I'm not entirely sure whether they picked up first occupation on this sky altar, which can be 750 points worth of a lead for the team of SNO in case they do manage to pick it up. Now, while this is going on, I need to very quickly try to add one more thing in here for your comfort. However, if I do that, I need to move myself that way. That is right. So now you guys are about to get a little bit of a treat, something new we've been working on that should hopefully pop up on the screen. We got verification to do. Bad news. That verification is about to pop in a few moments, and we're going to have to really quickly deal with that. The folks of HOF did not manage to pick up the Shrine of War away from SNO, and SNO's rally is doing really well. HOF putting a Scipio to lead the charge of the Shrine of War defense. An interesting pick, perhaps a visual bug. We'll have to see in the reports in a moment if that's a real thing. Pickle Juice B is rallying the heck out of this Shrine of War, which is lasting so far. Shrine of War being one of the most important buildings in the game, ladies and gentlemen. The reason for that being it grants you 5% attack and defense. By taking away your opposition's Shrine of War, you are essentially guaranteeing you have 10% buffs while they have 0. And that's a success by SNO. SNO running over the folks of HOF. Verification popping up on the screen means we got to take a quick break. We got to take a quick break and mention our sponsors. Our sponsor of this video being absolutely nobody. Make sure you smash a like on the stream if you enjoy the content. And of course, subscribe to the channel for hopefully a better cast in the next match. I'm going to have to yell at my internet provider. It looks like the folks of HOF are not going to let this SNO hold of a Shrine of War last for too long. But as long as the SNO are holding onto the Shrine of War, it means that any effort by HOF to take buildings away is drastically harder. As right now, this swarm and rally have 10% less defense and attack than the building does. Building locking in the favor of SNO means 500 points per minute in the lead in favor of SNO. And to make matters worse, there are 1,500 points lead for them. Let's go take a peek at the Arc of Osiris, which is about to pop in 43 seconds. Alliance skills used all over the place. Red team's alliance skill. SNO looking to take the middle. They have massive presence. Look at all the frowny faces. All the frowny faces going home by the folks of blue. Red team cleared out the middle, and in 34 seconds, they should be able to pick up this Arc of Osiris. While that is going on, they're still contesting the desert altar, which they already picked up. It is actually crazy to think that the odds on this match were so in favor of HOF, when in return, what we're seeing so far is a very dominant start by the folks of SNO. But then again, there are still 45 long minutes to go as the game keeps lagging its way through and through. SNO not managing to survive with this Sky Altar. The folks of HOF, the blue team, finally managing to stabilize. If we take a look at the map, you'll see that the map is fully halved with the exception of a nuisance player going around and picking up the outposts away from the red team, that could eventually become an issue for the folks in red, who are now almost 3,000 points in the lead, but they don't care. They have the game in control. They got to the point where early game, they forced the folks of HOF to have to go for buildings. What SNO did is actually one of the most well-played strategies I've seen in a long time. They put a lot of pressure early on. Let's put a tripod. Maybe I'll be able to also look at you guys every now and then. They managed to take a bunch of buildings away from HOF super early on. They put the pressure on HOF to have to play for the buildings game and not pay too much attention to the center. And once that happened, the center was empty and free for the folks of SNO to do exactly what they're doing right now. My goodness, this tripod. Oh, you guys are seeing the volume. Sorry. Tripod work. Thank you. All right. So now that we're tripoded up and we have our hands free, we can start taking a look a little bit at what's going on. Let's go look at the Sky Altar right now being rallied. It is lagging like crazy, but the rally seems to have been not successful. Shrine of Life also blinking for the red team. Their defenses are holding very well, and Attila Takeda rallying the Shrine of Life might be bad news. There is open field presence ready to swarm and protect this building away from Attila Takeda. And look at how successful the swarm is relatively to what we've seen previously. What I'm not seeing here is more debuffers. Ethelfled being a great debuffer to be on the map and help out with an open field swarm, but truthfully, Khan as well as Guan Yu don't really add as much debuff to this Attila Takeda as you need. What we're looking for here are Minamotos. What we're looking for here are Tamarises. At this point, the Shrine of Life got a little bit of reinforcement, but it doesn't look like it's going to hold. This Attila Takeda is hitting hard. And to make matters worse, the folks in blue are swarming correctly. So you're seeing a Minamoto hitting the building. You're seeing an Edward, which I'm assuming might have an Tamaris in the back. That's the kind of things we're looking when we talk about how to swarm efficiently. You want to be swarming not only if you're swarming a building or a rally, you want to have those debuffers available. Some of them in this game are very underused. The Shrine of Life is not going to hold. There's way too much blue presence in here. There are still 40 minutes remaining in the match, and let me tell you something. Nothing's near over. There is plenty of time for the blue team to make a comeback, although they are facing potentially... Ooh, there goes the arc right there. They're facing right now 7,000 points worth of a difference to close the gap. And to make matters worse, they're not able to even hold on to their own desert altar. As I mentioned in most matches, but I haven't today because does Alex debuff buildings? Take a look at Alex's skill and tell me, Tyler. Take a look at Alex's skill and tell me. Alex is one of the greater commanders for you to go swarm with as well. There is a... Remember that when you are debuffing HOF, taking their Shrine of Life back, remember when you're debuffing, debuffs and buffs don't necessarily stack. So you don't want to have the same commander that does the same thing, two commanders that do the same thing, because they will never really stack. But if you look at what kind of troops you want to take and what kind of commanders you want to use, a couple of them that I mentioned more than once are Ethelfled and Minamoto. If you guys, we can go take a look at those in a bit. But for now, this is what we're dealing with. Let me go take a peek and make sure that you guys are seeing everything okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the information tab. We've now improved it even further, and it's just going to do its thing. You'll see it coming as the match goes by, with some small tips and advice along the way for you guys to manage to play the best Ark of Osiris possible, as well as to understand what is going on. HOF are in a great situation right now to start healing. They have two Shrines of Life, which means they are now at 50% healing speed. This is when they start spending some of their healing speed ups to start healing those troops pretty much for half, well, not half, but it would be, instead of 25% off, 50% off, which means less speed ups used for more heals. Less speed up to use for more heals is definitely what you're trying to do. As of right now, this is very one-sided. We might have to dip out of here depending on the time and the situation. As of right now, though, match is not over. To see a 8,000 point difference but 40 minutes remaining, 2 arcs or 1 good arc and a good provisioning, and this is right back to square one. And as you can see, the folks in HOF have not even started thinking about giving up, but what they do need to start thinking about is how are they going to hold on to this situation. I have no clue what's going on in the rest of the matches. We can go take a peek at those in a moment to see what the scores are. But for now, it looks like HOF really got caught completely off guard. And SNO are taking this match by the nuts, apparently. It looks like it's, oh my goodness, what is going on in here? So far, so good. Looks like SNO are just taking their Shrine of Life back. So again, a very one-sided match. We'll give it a couple of moments to see if this thing evens up. And if not, we might have to go find a different match to keep an eye on. Probably 166, as you guys mentioned, might be a better match to keep an eye on. But for now, SNO just keep putting on the pressure. It's really interesting to see the timing on their work, because as you can see, what they're doing right now is the same thing they did previously, which is push buildings. They're pushing the buildings consistently, but keep your eye on the timer of the Ark of Osiris. 5 minutes remaining. About 2 to 3 minutes before Ark of Osiris the Ark of Osiris spawns, we're going to see HOF really trying to get their buildings back, while SNO are really going to try to do their very best to take another Ark. And if they take another Ark, this could be match over. 4 minutes remaining for the Ark. It looks like, again, SNO this time around don't have that much building presence. They do own one of the altars that's supposed to be blue. But other than that, business as usual. And this altar is being contested already. It looks like there is a open field presence by HOF, but no rally set. 8 rallies out there. The blue team have none? No, this hasn't loaded. Okay, good. So 8 rallies, which we cannot see. There we go. It took a moment. HOF rallying 4 different buildings. SNO 3 buildings and a counter rally by the looks of it. Counter rally on what is the rally on the desert altar. Something we do not recommend doing, spending a march and bunch of marches into a counter rally. Rather than counter rallying, you want to have some open field presence. You can see the debuffers doing fantastic work out of this rally. Here's a perfect example of what we mentioned, the trifecta of buffs and debuffs around the building, and that rally had no chance whatsoever. That counter rally completely useless. That rally stood no chance from the moment it got here. An Ethelfled, a Minamoto, an Alexander swarming the heck out of the rally. It stood no chance. And now look at the counter rally. If nobody pays attention to these marches are going to go home. And this is exactly why counter rallies are a little bit counterproductive. Look at all the marches now that did pretty much nothing, making their way home for absolutely no reason, instead of being able to come up and contest the Shrine of War, which is being rallied by SNO, and there's no open field presence here whatsoever by either team. This again would have given an amazing lead for SNO, having that open field presence surrounding the Shrine of War, rather than having a rally that broke apart and went home. As you guys saw firsthand, swarming a rally works out very, 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 very well. And the counter rally, as you saw, was fairly insignificant. And all those marches essentially wasted 1 minute for the rally to work, 1 minute for the rally to march, and another minute to march back. That's 5% of the match, where 5 or 6 marches were completely useless. Those are the kinds of micro optimizations you're trying to get into. Those are the kind of micro optimizations you're not looking to miss out on. That is the number one and most important thing for you guys to remember. Time is your biggest enemy in Ark of Osiris, and you want to make sure you utilize your time to the best of your ability. Counter rallies are not a good way to go. While we're looking at this, it looks like the Shrine of War might be taken out by SNO. If they take away the Shrine of War from the folks in HOF, that middle fight is going to get nasty. So far, so good. It looks like SNO are rallying correctly, but HOF showed up with a little bit of reinforcements into the building. This will give the building a little bit of extra health and lifespan, which is what they need right now. They need to allow all these marches to make it in. A counter rally coming in from HOF is really bad news. The use of a Attila on a counter rally rather than on an offense. Great play though happening in the background. Unfortunately, because I'm looking at a monitor of a phone, I didn't notice that HOF went in and picked up an obelisk away from SNO. This is the counterattack that HOF needed to do. HOF need to distract the folks of SNO right now, because SNO have probably all the... Ooh, interesting. So they do not have the center. They own the buildings game, but they do not own the center yet. 47 seconds remaining. All the red team is trying to get to the back. They're trying to get to Shiro Jr. to stop him from carrying the arc. But Shiro, all Shiro needs to do is drop the arc on that side of the building rather than on this side. And by that, they'll gain 30 seconds, 30 long seconds worth of a time to move that arc even further, or to just delay the folks from red from taking the buildings out. Remind you, unfortunately, we get stuck between a hard place and a rock. I literally cannot connect to anything on my computer. I'm casting from the phone chat. I love casting. This is for you guys. This is for the community. This is for myself. Drop a like on the stream if you're enjoying the content, if you're learning stuff, and if you have questions, make sure you ask your questions in the comments. I'm keeping my eye on that too. It's hard to cast on a small screen, turns out, but I'm doing my very best because that's what we had to do today. Buildings blinking everywhere. That center fight is going to be nuts in a moment, but we're keeping our eyes on the buildings right now, because the buildings game is one of the most important games right now, because for the folks in blue, the points per minute game is fairly bad, and they are looking at 9,000 points difference to try to close the gap. They're trying to close the gap. The arc has popped, and this is where either blue team managed to take on the folks in red, and they definitely put up a nice little alliance skill. It looks like the fight is fairly even. If we could only see it, it would be amazing, but you know how it works, Lilith. An arc is being dropped right now. Someone is about to bring it down. It's the folks in red. They're going to try to make a move. They're going to try to get that arc towards their side, and my goodness, is this real? Is the arc actually running away? It seems like the arc is really running away. The folks in blue really got caught off guard, and they let that arc slip out of the massive cloud of madness. So a few marches are now trying to catch up with the arc, but if the arc goes home, so go the hopes of the folks of HOF, and at that point, I'd feel comfortable moving on to the next match. It looks like the arc is definitely making its way towards the red camp. Blue team is just unable to get out of the open field fights. Open field fights are the devil in Ark of Osiris. If you get drawn into open field fights, no matter where you are, you have officially lost the match. The reason for that is very simple. Open field does nothing, zero, for Ark of Osiris. The only thing it does is whether you use or don't use the open field to secure a goal in Ark of Osiris. If you're doing open field swarms on a building, perfect. If you're doing open field swarms on rallies that are rallying your building, perfect. But when you're doing this, in the middle team, it's okay, because the whole point is to try to diminish the other team's strength. But when the other team picks up the arc, you cannot get stuck fighting the cloud. You have to go chase the arc carrier first. The whole point of having this swarm of madness happening in the open field is because you're not wanting to let the folks of the other team take the Ark of Osiris. It's just as simple as that. And unfortunately, it seems like the folks in blue are really in trouble right here. I feel like we're going to very quickly hop out of this match and go to the next one. Looks like our friends Chiskel and Ronnie are also casting. By the looks of it, Ronnie picked the UCS match. Let's go see what's going on in there very quickly. And we might have to hop out. Yeah, we can't watch this. It's just not working. Internet is all sorts of craziness. We're not going to waste our little bit of internet on watching other streams right now, but rather focus on the one. It looks like this arc is still being fought for. There's still a chance for the folks in blue, but they are just falling out like flies one by one. And SNO's strategy looks sound and nuts. SNO's open field presence looks fantastic. They are focused on what is important, the goals of Ark of Osiris. And as such, it seems that the folks in SNO are most likely going to take this match. With all the buildings blinking, I feel comfortable. It's time for us to click the quit button and go take a look at a few other matches happening. That's if we can quit. Let's go take a look very quickly at what is going on in the rest of the matches here. Let's go watch what are the scores where. The folks in 166 are in the lead. HKL fairly ahead. V163 versus BBTH is looking also very good. And r0se and UCS. r0se in the lead, ladies and gentlemen. r0se in the lead. Which match do we go to? I feel like we have to. We have to go take a look at r0se, don't we? We have to go take a look at r0se. But with Ronnie casting that match, I will probably not go take a look at that. Let's go take a peek at r0se real quick and see what is going on in there. We might have to switch it up a little bit, as SNO seems very comfortable in the lead. And this is, by the way, why I put a few coins on r0se, because UCS caught OV off guard, but that don't mean UCS are alive and kicking. While I hope that they do manage to get out of this situation, the folks in UCS are now on their back foot. They do own the points per minute game and the buildings game as of right now, which is important for them to mount this comeback. But the Arc of Osiris is about to pop in about 2 minutes, and the open field presence by both teams looks fairly even in the center. UCS pushing forward with more marches. It looks like there is going to be a little bit of a better situation in here. Let's go really quickly. We have to change the title, I guess. We have to change the title. Let's go keep an eye on our friends in UCS and r0se. Shoutcast this match properly. So these guys are r0se versus UCS / 1 AVG versus 166. GG SNO. There we go. Change up that title real quick. We switch it up. Let's see what we get in here. A little bit of an interesting situation. The folks of r0se right now in the lead, but very slightly, and they're trying to stop the bleeding. They let UCS take a small point per minute lead, but now they own half of the map back, and they're looking to try to take some UCS buildings, starting off with the Shrine of War. The Shrine of War being contested. Thankfully for the folks in blue, they own half of the map. In a moment, that Desert Altar will lock in their favor, and they'll be back to 590, 590. UCS's Shrine of War fairly well secured, and while that happens, Desert Altar being taken by r0se, that's the kind of play they needed. They evened up the points per minute game. The folks of UCS are going to stop gaining a lead now, and even worse, in about 3 minutes, the folks of r0se will be 150 points in the lead, even more than that, because in a few moments, their own Desert Altar will be locking in their favor in about 1 minute and 20 seconds. That'll be 150 points per minute worth of a lead. And then once this gets locked in their favor, if it does, that'll be 300 points per minute for the folks of r0se. My 100 coins could end up giving a crazy amount of coins, as it looks like r0se are doing an amazing job. It looks like they're doing an amazing job. The SNO match is pretty much over, Daphne. There's very little for us to see there. I mean, we can go back to looking at them, but that match is pretty done. It is very done. The folks of SNO just showed up big time. They just squashed HOF. They didn't even give him a shot. At no point ever did SNO lose the lead. At no point ever, with the exception of the first 5 minutes. With the exception of the 5 minutes, the folks of SNO are just, it's SNO, sure. I don't know what the other team's name is. I'm not gonna call teams by name. Next thing you know, I need to start calling people the Hall of Famers and all that. I go by the letters. It's already more than enough to remember who is who. Now I need to remember the names as well of the teams. It looks like the folks of r0se, r0se, if it makes you feel any better, are doing such an amazing job. They delayed UCS's Desert Altar almost entirely. 3 long minutes it took for the folks of UCS to take their building back. r0se taking up 150 points worth of a lead because they locked in their own Desert Altar, which is great work, but in return, they just about lost their Shrine of Life. The lead is still blue. The lead is still blue by a little bit, but oh my goodness. We can go take a peek at 166. Let's go take a peek at 166 right now. Since nobody's looking at it, we can definitely go take a look at that match. I feel like We have Ronnie casting this. I think we should go take a look at 166. You guys are right. Let's go hop out that way with the hopes and dreams that we make a little bit of coins along the way. SNO, how is this the better show? Someone explain to me, how is this the better show when 166 are running over 1 AVG right now? How is this the better show? The best match so far from what I saw was r0se and UCS, as well as BBTH and V163. Oy, oy, oy. What do we watch? What do we watch? We want something close. These matches are pointless. What's the point of going here? You guys want to see a massacre? There's nothing for us to see. There's nothing for us to see here. The folks of red own the map. They own the points per minute game. They have about 130 points per minute in their favor. And to make matters worse, the arc is very far away. That's pretty much what the folks of 1AVG are looking for to close this gap. This match is going to be painful. This match is going to be painful. Let's go take a look back at what we have going on. Hop around, see if we can find an interesting match. How K9T is losing to HKL. That doesn't surprise me too much. Hong Kong legends are very underrated. Chat, r0se and UCS, man. r0se and UCS is all we got to watch right now. That is the game to watch. That is definitely what we want to be seeing. The most important match of the day, in my opinion. These guys were looked at as underdogs. UCS were on the hype train. And boy, oh boy, UCS are losing right now by about 350 points, 360 points. Not the craziest of losses, but r0se really owned the middle. And to make matters worse, they are marching the arc home. That arc is gone. And with that arc being gone, UCS picked up the first one. As you can see up on the top right there, you'll see one in favor of UCS. This is r0se taking that right back. And to make matters even worse, r0se are picking up the second arc. The second arc being worth 500 points more than the first one means that they'll increase their lead on the arc game even further as well. The map went back to being somewhat divided with the exception of the one outpost. Altars right here being very well contested. Looks like UCS are really trying to go crazy and they are just not successful at it. And Edward Tamaris doing work against these open field marches. r0se securing their altar very, very well. The arc is just taking its time right now, but if it takes too much time, it might end up finding itself in a rough place. They are trying to keep their arc for as long as possible. Right now, the folks in r0se have one priority only. Their priority is, we want this arc to last for another 13 long minutes, 12 minutes, and in the 13th minute, we will deliver the arc. That will essentially guarantee no more arcs on the map, and it will give the folks of r0se a substantial lead. They're right now leading by about less than 500, about 500 points, give or take. When this arc gets delivered, it'll be delivered for a 4,000 point lead total. With a 4,000 point lead total, UCS are really going to need to step it up to gain their points per minute game. And they're doing that. They're 150 points in the lead, which is what they need. With 20 minutes remaining, that's 3,000 points in favor of UCS, which will close the gap down to 1,000 points. And from there, provisions can do their thing. Sammy, that match is done. That match is 26,000 to 14,000. You want to watch what? I prefer watching something that we have something fun and exciting to see rather than than seeing a massacre. This is why also we left SNO. It's also why we left SNO, because truthfully, SNO just beat the heck out of. Listen, SNO beat the heck out of HOF. We don't even need to talk about it. It was just an unbelievable match. BBTH is surprising some. An interesting match to go keep an eye on. We could switch to that towards the last maybe 15 minutes or so. Really want to make sure that we have our r0se secured because, ladies and gentlemen, we did bet on r0se a little bit, 100 coins. That's about that. We don't really cast too many matches that have a very one-sided affair. The one-sided affair matches are a little bit not interesting, really. More often than not. Fourth arc, no time, anyone to get it in? No. Third arc, you mean? And no time to get it in for sure. This is the second arc coming in. It looks like the fourth arc won't come in, and even the third one, if they delay this long enough, the third one won't have time either. UCS are not going to let this slip. They took the Shrine of War away from r0se. A small slip up. It looks like that r0se are focused very much on their Arc of Osiris and missing the buildings. Buildings are very important as the points per minute lead right now is fairly substantial. 320 points per minute in the favor of UCS, meaning that arc in 12 minutes is worth nothing. The folks of r0se seem to have slipped their building game, and it's understandable considering the power UCS has over r0se. This could be a very, very interesting ending of a match. The folks of UCS are rallying everything possible. They're rallying the Shrine of Life, trying to get it out of the hands of r0se, and so are they rallying the Shrine of War. This rally, though, is not very successful, but here comes the open field swarm to help it out, and that could mean big trouble for the building. Enough debuffers and DPS coming into the open field means that building is going to be a tough one. Fakih, we're not going to 166, man. The match is over. Please stop asking to go to matches that are one-sided. There's nothing for us to watch there. There's nothing for us to watch there. Congrats, 166. They won, most likely, unless some miracle happens. Nothing for us to enjoy in that match, man. What do you want, to show victory of 166 on the screen? Show the victory of SNO on the screen? We know it. It's there. The big issue is happening here with r0se because they're losing control of the buildings. They're losing control of the points per minute game. They're 320 points in the back. And now with 18 minutes remaining, things are going to be so rough for them to come back. They really need to start picking up buildings. And there are no rallies whatsoever out there. No red building is blinking right now. One building is fighting for its life for the Shrine of War. They need their Shrine of War back. But as of right now, UCS take a lead, and that lead is going to grow substantially. Look at the amount of presence by r0se to try to get this Shrine of War back. They know they need the Shrine of War to try to take buildings away from UCS. The dream right now for the folks in S and r0se is to stop the bleeding. They are bleeding, and they're bleeding badly. 290 points per minute. They're slowly closing that gap. But right now, they need their Shrine of War and then to start taking buildings back. Remember, they have an Arc of Osiris in their back pocket. 3,500 points. So the fact that UCS are in the lead by about 300 points is not that significant. But provisions can come in as a huge factor towards the very end. And so for both sides, but with, oh boy, with the folks of UCS taking 340 points per minute worth of a lead and taking the Sky Altar away from r0se, it seems like r0se are crumbling towards the end. r0se seem to have been crumbling towards the end. They're losing the buildings game. They've lost their eye. They've dropped their eye on the target. They were so focused on that center and on fixing those freaking and making sure that they have that arc available that they completely messed up their buildings game. And now look at the buildings game. They finally get their Shrine of War back, which evens them up in terms of the buffs that both teams have. But UCS coming back with a response. Desert Altar being contested, Shrine of War of Life being contested. Every single building that is blue that has any meaning is blinking to the point where we can't see anything on the screen. UCS are putting in so much work that they are just taking everything away from r0se. And to make matters worse, an obelisk take in this part of the game is such a crucial situation. The reason this is such a problem is that if UCS manage to take this building and hold on to it, they'll be able to teleport nearby here, and zeroing cities is not the problem. The problem is that now open field marches as well as rallies can come much quicker towards the side of UCS. Of r0se. And r0se, man, r0se are trying to restabilize. They need to take altars away from the folks of UCS right now. 400 points in the favor of UCS, and this building is holding for dear life. The open field presence is coming to try to hold on to this building. The building is being swarmed. There are Ethelfleds, there is a Minamoto, there is a Tamaris, there is an Alexander, there is a Charles Martel swarming this building. This building is about to go down. No matter what you bring in here, this building will go down. The real question is how long of a delay it's going to be. The folks of blue delivering the arc. This is an interesting play. The folks of blue delivering the arc. This is actually a fantastic play. So here is the problem. The folks in rose decided to cap the arc, allowing one more to appear on the map. This will actually work in their favor. The reason for that is pressure on the field. Why do people always swarm? Because swarming a building with a rally is one of the best things you can do right now. It's one of the best things you can do right now. The debuffing marches all over the rally, debuffing all over the building, debuffing the building, and a rally. There's also a rally back here doing massive amount of work. Debuffers on the buildings, rally. It's definitely faster, Cookie. I'm not going to argue with you. It's proven. It's the reason why OV won last season. When you put buffers and debuffers to hit the building, you're essentially helping your rally do its work. There is a rally right there too. It's not only a swarm. There is an Attila Takeda rally right here, and the swarmers are debuffing and helping the building out. Who did I bet on? I bet 100 coins on Rose, most of my money on SNO, and the rest... Surrender deals more damage as well. That is true. And the rest went all... it was mostly SNO, Rose, and I don't know who else I put coins on. I forgot who else I put coins on. I really don't remember who else I put coins... Oh, maybe 500 on SOD, I think. I think I put 500 coins on SOD. UCS taking this altar means trouble. They are 320 points per minute. 320 points per minute in the lead is bad news for the folks in blue. They are trying to relieve pressure off their buildings by allowing another arc to spawn in the center. At this point, what will happen is exactly this. UCS will divert some of their energy towards the center. Now this is 4,000 points, and the folks of Rose are right now about 2,000 points in the lead. This would mean that they'd have to close a gap of 2,000 points worth of a lead for UCS, plus another potential gap of 350 points per minute times 12, which is another 3,500 points. We're talking already about 5,500 points worth of a lead that they need to shrink. By allowing the center to spawn another arc and letting this happen, they are hedging their bet on people leaving the buildings like they are right here, and allowing the folks in Rose to stop the bleeding in the points per minute game. That is right now 350 points per minute. If they manage to stop the points per minute bleed, then from there, they can potentially provision their way home, stop the last arc from getting delivered, and essentially maintain the very little lead they have. The name of the game right now is delay, 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 delay. For Rose, they need to stop the bleeding in terms of the points per minute game, and they are doing that. They're just one desert altar away from that. And from there, they just need to hold. The issue is they have been so focused on the middle part of this map that the Shrine of Life hasn't been contested for a long time. This Shrine of Life is pretty much empty, and well, there should be people there, but very little open field presence around it. Same goes for the Sky Altar up here. Probably very little to no open field presence by it. 2 marches and a few more coming in. So SNO, the folks in Rose have been beaten down to fight on their own side only. And now they need to start doing what they're doing, which is send rallies out. This is the time to take buildings, stop the bleeding, and then go towards the center from the back and do everything they can possibly do to stop the arc from getting delivered. At 330 points in the lead for the folks of UCS in the points per minute game, they can close this gap fairly substantially. They have an easy 300 and some points, but look at this. This is the kind of play that we need. This is the kind of play that we need. Someone from Rose stopping the bleeding at any cost. He needs to get out of here and leave this outpost be. He's trying to hold on to this outpost, which is not going to be good news. He needs to go pick up more outposts and stop the bleeding. But UCS are just too strong. They're holding on to everything. The desert altar that's supposed to be Rose's might fall very soon, and that'll drop the points per minute lead down by 150 points, which is exactly what Rose need. Rose need to take altars away from UCS right now, and which is why 3 altars are blinking. 3 red altars are blinking. If 3 altars go blue, it's a huge problem. One of them already secured by UCS with a swarm, a very good diverse swarm on this rally. And to make matters worse, a full building. Add to that, let's take a look at the desert altar, whether the folks of r0se are able to pick up their own altar back. It's a hugely important task for them to pick up this desert altar as quickly as possible, and they do. Bleeding taken down to 150 points, which is exactly what they're trying to do. This rally, supported by some open field, seems to not be too successful. As you can see, UCS focusing more on swarming the rally rather than countering the rally. Correct play right there by UCS. And it looks like this building will most likely get secured. r0se bringing in a Alexander, a Khan, and a Saladin to swarm this building out. It's not going to be enough, but the map is fairly even. r0se managed to do what they wanted to do, which is stop the bleeding. In a couple of minutes, this lead of UCS in terms of points per minute will be out of the window. And now we're back to provisions, baby. We're back to provisions, and this is when blue team are going to start getting into the center. UCS have a massive presence in the center. Right now, blue team going head-to-head with UCS might be big problems. They need to figure out how they now stop this arc from getting delivered. If this arc gets delivered, it is most likely GG in the favor of UCS. But if this arc manages to hold on for 8 minutes, which is a lot of time, boy, oh boy, this is going to be a really tough one. r0se now sending everything they got towards the center, but UCS are actually being a nuisance. They're not going to let them fully go to the center. UCS want to make sure that they also take the points per minute game. They're looking at rallying the Sky Altar, and this rally on the Sky Altar is super successful so far. There is some presence by r0se. They cannot allow this building to go down. This is a point maker building. They own the building. They cannot allow it to go down. If the building goes down, so does the match. Unfortunately, the person out there for r0se waited till the building was red to get into the building, and right now the poor guy is going up against a whole swarm plus a rally. One of the recommendations I always tell you guys, do not go into buildings. Do not go into buildings when they're red. When they start getting yellow, that's when you start going in. If you're waiting for red to get into the building, what you're saying is, all my alliance mates have 15,000 troops remaining and I have 200,000. Congrats, you're holding on to the building by yourself. What's the point? You want to make sure all your alliance mates have at least 100, 150 marches, troops in the building, and from there, you want to reinforce the building. You want to make sure you're sharing the burden of the defense. If you're waiting for red to defend in the building by yourself, it's you against the rally. It's you against the rally and a swarm. It's you against the swarm. The whole point of a building is having multiple marches playing together to defend the building. But if they're all red and you are green, you're defending by yourself. And so that's a huge problem. It looks like the arc went more towards r0se than it did towards the folks in red so far. UCS picking up the arc and trying to make moves with it, but it did drop on that side rather than on this side, which means it went towards blue for a little bit. It is now making its way back, and blue cannot let this slip. Blue have to focus the arc carrier. The arc carrier cannot keep progressing. The way you focus the arc carrier is by simply tapping on the arc. When you tap on the arc, you'll be able to send your marches that way, and you're donezo. This is a little trick John Wick told us last season in Arc of Osiris, but it looks like the folks in blue are letting this arc carrier keep going. The arc carrier is making substantial movement, and blue are just not paying attention to the one march that they need to pay attention to the most. It looks like the arc carrier is really running away with it. Oh no, r0se, are you getting caught off guard? And to make matters even worse for r0se, they lose their Shrine of War, which means that middle fight is now even crazier. There's a little bit of a defense happening there, a little bit of a help defense happening on the side of UCS, I believe that is. And oh my goodness, this arc is bailing out. This arc is really bailing out. Lag is everywhere. It looks like the arc is still marching in favor of UCS. Every single second that UCS march in their favor is a huge problem for r0se, and r0se are too caught off guard with these swarms in here and too little keeping their eye on what matters, which is the one march that is slipping away with the Arc of Osiris. UCS in the lead by about 400-ish points, not even that, 350 points. Oh my goodness gracious. Provisions might start coming in very soon. All the blue buildings are blinking. Nothing red is blinking with the exception of the Shrine of War, which should have been blue already. Wrong decision to put the arc while they were bleeding. Probably they had to do something. They had to do something. They could have held the arc up until now and never even, and the middle team would have focused on the lanes rather than focused on the middle. What they tried to do here is to get the middle team to leave the lanes and allow them to retake the map, which was a good play. However, you can't just make that play. You got to understand that right now the goal is to stop the arc, and it looks like they managed to stop it, but the arc got re-picked up by UCS. There are 4 minutes remaining. Now, the real question is, can r0se stop this arc from getting carried? And do they have the provisions it takes to win? There's 300 points worth of a lead for the folks in UCS. The points per minute game also working in favor of UCS by only 50 points. So that's not drastic. That's 200 points total. If UCS capture this arc, it's going to be trouble. If UCS don't capture this arc and the provisions slip in last second, this can be crazy. They had to capture the arc. UCS wasn't sending troops to the middle, correct? You really want to make sure that instead of that the middle team will focus on middle rather than go towards the side lanes. You don't want the middle to just not to help the lanes. You saw what happens when the middle helped the lanes. The folks of r0se just weren't able to hold on to any single building whatsoever. At this stage, r0se need to pick their battles. Every time someone picks up the arc, smack them. Picks up the arc, smack them. Bring your marches in here. Forget about the buildings. Forget about everything. The gap and time left there's not enough time right now for UCS to gain a crazy amount of points. r0se picking up the arc is fantastic. They need to dip out. They need to gain time. They are closing in. The folks of UCS are also starting to bring in some provisions, but provisions can end up winning this. The real question is who has more marches out there waiting. For now, the arc was dropped. This arc has 3 minutes to march. It might not even make it in. And at this point, again, we're talking strictly provisions. Points per minute game going in favor of UCS. 280 points in the favor of UCS means another 700-ish, 840 points for UCS, which is more points that provisions need to beat. But that is okay because as of right now, the folks of r0se are winning the match in terms of the arc. They have more points in arc. They don't have more points in terms of the building holds, and they might not have enough points in terms of provisions. But as long as this arc is not delivered, oh my goodness, it is slipping away. Cross coming in with a backstab. He needs to target the arc carrier. He needs to stop the arc carrier from moving. Instead, where is he? He is hitting the arc carrier. Good. The arc drops. That's everything that r0se need right now. r0se have to get this arc under control. They seem to also try. They're also trying to take a point maker building away from UCS, which is not really going to be successful. These marches should be focusing on stopping the arc from moving towards UCS. Picking up the arc by r0se is a really bad idea. They're essentially becoming a squishy march of pain, and the provisions starting to come in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about 1,000 points in favor of UCS. Nothing is done yet. One good provisioner can turn this around. Chat, if you're enjoying the cast, you're enjoying the content, make sure you're dropping a like on the stream. Next cast, I'll probably start straight from the phone just to make sure we don't have any issues unless I can fix the computer. But for now, I appreciate every single one of you who joined us this cast. I've been having a blast casting these. We've been peaking on viewership. I appreciate every single one of you who has been chilling here, dropping likes. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and turn on those notifications because UCS are running away with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, 2,300 points. Their provisioners are coming home, and the match froze. Good Lord, don't do this to us right now. We need to see what is going on. 1 minute remaining, and the timer is going down. I might have to leave and come back in to make sure we guarantee the victory, the viewership. We can see what is going on. The arc is still here. No time left at this point. Provisioners are everything, and it looks like UCS are doing the better job. Let your provisioners come in. It is time to wait and see. 2,200 points. That's all the folks of r0se need to beat UCS and to beat one of the most important matches of their season. Nobody expected this to be like this. Nobody expected this match to go as crazy as it has. And oh my goodness gracious, with the exception of a fairly one-sided match early on, I believe we found ourselves an awesome match to keep an eye on. r0se have played amazingly well. They played a really, really good match. Much respect to how they play. They've definitely proven that they are not a team to mess with. And UCS, I can promise to you, NDay is screaming in chat right now, GG's to UCS with a victory that was, whoo-wee. Here he is, the boss himself, NDay. My goodness, nobody expected this to happen. Provisions being fairly even, but not as good as they could have and should have been. UCS taking the lead in the occupation buildings, 25 million heals. 25 million heals for the folks of r0se. Do they have anything left in the tank for one more March to go? And will we see them in the playoffs? 25.9, almost 26 million heals. These guys were not about to lose this match, except they did. Can we get some rest in pieces in the chat? But I'm kidding. Let's get those GGs up in the air. This was an unbelievably awesome match. I am super pumped that we got to experience it and watch at least most of it. It was an amazingly fun match to watch, and honestly, I think that we couldn't have asked for a better ending. It was close, it was tight. The strategy is super sound. Let's get those GGs up in the air for r0se as well as the folks of UCS. A very interesting match. We have one team that we know already is in the playoffs, and that is UCS. What's on your schedule for 13 UTC? Ivor, I'm playing on the 13 UTC match, so I will not be casting it. I actually have to go in a moment, do what I need to do before the matches and go into JWM2. Let's go look at how the rest of the matches ended up. How crazy would it be if all of a sudden SNO lost? SNO winning, fantastic news for them. The folks of 166 winning too. That means our friend Dragothian is out of the playoffs, which means we'll be seeing him casting a lot more. Not a bad play at all. There are our coins on SNO. We are expecting a nice little return on those coins. You know what I'm saying? r0se, 100 coins. I'm okay with a loss. And SOD right now need to step it up. Cookie, good luck to you, my friend. My coins are against you, but hey, if you win, I'll be pumped for you. I don't regret not betting on 166. I don't bet. I felt bad betting on them. I'm okay with not taking those extra coins, although a 3-for-1, that would have been very, very nice. So with all this being said, very quickly, let's take a peek. SNO are in the playoffs. Congratulations, SNO. The Frozen Empire up to the top 16. One of our first teams that really came up this season. 2.3 billion power, stepping it up massively. Massive shout out. Massive shout out to the Frozen Empire. GG's and very well played. Let's go look really quickly at the, what was it, schedule? Will it work? No? Qualifiers. Hello? 10 out of 10, really. 10 out of 10, Lilith. Really. 10 out of 10 on the qualifier page. It's probably one of the better pages I've seen. Oh, it's probably one of the better pages I've seen in my life. All right, so we don't want that. We want this. Now it takes half an hour to load. Perfect. So with this being said, 166 guaranteeing themselves a spot in the playoffs as well. BBTH in the playoffs. HKL in the playoffs. SNO in the playoffs. And it looks like UCS made it to the playoffs as well. r0se, C9N, K9T, V163, P245, NCB, 89PX, and MFLD all with one victory, as well as JWM2, NB2, JWM looking to either secure a playoffs position today or tomorrow. Chat, with all that being said, I gotta go get ready for my match. Go watch Dragothian's stream. He will be streaming my match, Ronnie's match, Chiskel's match. Everyone's playing at the same time. Kinda nuts. We'll be back at 19 UTC. Make sure you subscribe to the channel before you leave and you drop a like on the stream if you've enjoyed the cast. Next time, we're not gonna be late. I'm gonna leave the phone set up, and worst case scenario, we will go with the phone. There are still tons of matches going on today. We have a bunch of these guys still up for play, and we will be casting the Boobs Live Nation next at 19 UTC. Thank you for being awesome, chat. I apologize for the early issues. I'm gonna call my internet provider and yell at them late tomorrow probably, because this is stupid that I cannot do anything on my computer. But anyway, everything is laggy. Everything is nuts. My goodness, I'm not looking forward for the match that's coming. Chat, I gotta go to JWM2. I gotta go put my buffs on, get my stuff together, breathe. I'm technically working right now. Don't tell anyone. I need to log into work just to make sure things are okay. And I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. I appreciate you guys very much. And take care. Come back at 7 p.m. UTC. Last question. Sure, hit me. Cinnabon. Hit me with your question. And hit the like button too while you're here. Go, 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 go. Dragor, I did that right before this match. No, I'm playing, Cinnabon. I'm playing. I'm playing at the same time. I'm playing at the same time. Chat, take care, and come support your boy at JWM2 match. Click, 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 click. Get yourselves in. Come say hi to me at the bottom side. I'll keep an eye on chat, see if any of you are there. Chat, take care. Peace.